Erev Tov Rabotai, we're continuing with our Mishna Yomi Masechet Peah. We're up to Perek Aleph Mishnah Bet. The Mishnah now discusses, continuing from the first Mishnah, about how much minimum is a person required to leave at the end of his field for the poor people. And Pochatin the Peah Mishishim. The Mishnah writes, Chachamim instituted, you cannot leave less than a 60th of your produce for Peah, meaning, let's say a 60th, let's round between 1.5 to 2%. You cannot leave less than that amount for the poor people. It has to be at least 1.5 to 2% and up. Even though the first Mishnah in the Masechet said that Peah has no minimum, you can leave even one stalk and you'll do the mitzvah. However, the Rav says that was all midoraita. Midrabanan, it's at least 1.5 to 2%, a 60th of the produce. Likewise, the Mishnah says, even sometimes a 60th is not always enough, because you could have, it goes based on the size of the field and also the amount of poor people, right? It all goes based off the amount of your field, and also how much poor people you have, because sometimes you could have a field so large that even if you leave a 60th, you have so much left, so you're going to have to give more to the anim. And if sometimes you have an average field, but you have so many poor people that giving a 60th won't be enough for them, so you should also give more in that case. And how much more than a 60th you leave also depends on your anava. It means humility, but Rashi says based on your generosity. So even though the minimum Chachamim says a 60th, sometimes there are cases where you should give more. If you have a very big field, if there are a lot of poor people, or sometimes the person is generous, so he'll give more. That is the Rabotai of Mishnah Bet. Mishnah Gimel now discusses, now usually the way a farmer harvests his field is he goes from one end of the field to the other end of the field, right? So our Mishnah says where you start harvesting is the beginning, and until you get to the other side, that's called the end. Where you finish is called the end. So that now the Mishnah discusses, the Torah says you have to leave over Pe'at Sadecha. Pe'ah is a corner. Now does it literally mean the corner, or can it be anywhere else on the field? Right? Pe'ah means the end. Does it have to be literally the end, or can it be anywhere in my field? Right? So the Mishnah says, Notnin Pe'ah mitchilat hasadeh u'me'emtza'ah. The first opinion of the Mishnah is you can leave Pe'ah, the end of your field that the Torah requires you to leave, even at the beginning of the field or in the middle, and to continue to harvest the rest. Meaning, this rabbi learns out the word Pe'ah in the Torah, which means end, is not telling me you have to leave it in the end. Well, how does he know? Because the Torah says likzo, to harvest, meaning I can leave Pe'ah and then I can continue harvesting. So what does that mean if I'm continuing to harvest? It means I left over the Pe'ah in the beginning of the field and I continue to harvest. Because like we said earlier, Rabotai, the Pasuk in the Torah spoke about how, let me just find the words, right? It says, Pe'at sadecha likzo. You have to leave over a Pe'ah of your field to harvest. So that implies, according to this opinion in the Mishnah, you could leave over Pe'ah and continue harvesting, meaning I left over the Pe'ah in the beginning of my field and I have a whole field left. However, the Mishnah continues, Rabbi Shimon says, Ubilvad sheiten basof kashiur. Rabbi Shimon agrees. The Torah does say likzo, meaning you can leave Pe'ah in the beginning and continue harvesting. However, you cannot ignore the fact that the word Pe'ah literally means the end. Therefore, Rabbi Shimon says that whatever you left over in the beginning or middle counts, because the Torah says likzo, but ubilvad sheiten basof kashiur, you must leave also some of that amount at the end to fulfill the literal word of Pe'ah, which means the end. Whereas the last opinion of the Mishnah is Rabbi Yehuda says, if you left one stock at the end of the field, you can rely on whatever you left in the beginning or middle to count towards your 60th. However, if you don't leave a stock at the end of the field, meaning you only left in the middle or the beginning, if you want to give that over to the poor people without them having to take off maaser, you're going to have to make it ownerless. Meaning, according to Rabbi Yehuda, the word Pe'ah holds back the mitzvah. If you do not leave anything at the end, you never did Pe'ah. And in order to give it to the poor people, that they shouldn't have to take off ma'asrot, the separations, you have to make it ownerless. It comes out, Rabotai, we have three opinions in this Mishnah. The first opinion holds, you can leave it anywhere in the field, and it counts. That's the mitzvah. The second opinion, Rabbi Shimon holds, that you can leave it anywhere in the field, it'll count, but you should also leave at the end to fulfill the mitzvah literally of Pe'ah. But it counts anywhere you leave it. Rabbi Yehuda says the strictest it does not count unless you leave at the end. So what you do is, you can leave in the beginning or middle, but you must leave one stock at the end in order that it'll, so to speak, somech, it'll hold on to the whatever you put in the middle again and pull it to the back of the, and it will count towards what you left in the back of the field. He holds whatever you left in the beginning or middle will not count at all. He reads the word Peah literally as the end. That is the end of the Mishnah. Gimel Rabotai, today's Mishna Yomi. Baruch Adonai Le'olam, Amen v'Amen.